Seeing as it is 7:02, we'll go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Urbana Free Library for December 9th of 2025. Talia, can we have a roll call?
Sure. Dan.
Here.
Glenn.
Here.
Darius.
Here.
Erica.
Here.
Deb.
Here.
Cherise.
Here.
Julie. Here.
All right. Are there any additions, corrections, or modifications to the agenda?
I would like to propose that we combine 8.2 revised hour of service with 8.3 hours of service policy, because they're pretty much the same item.
Works for me. Anyone else? All right. All in favor of approving the agenda with the modification of 8.2 and 8.3 combining into one?
Here.
I did. I guess I forgot to say aye, didn't I? All in favor of that modification, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, coming straight from Chicago.
Works for me.
Yeah, traffic's best.
I just said, probably coming from Chicago.
Coming straight from Chicago.
You're
It's a
good.
mess.
All right. Do we have public comment this evening?
That's a good spot for me.
Works.
Okay. Then if I get nervous. Hello, board members. I'm Carol Ginsky. It's been 31 years since I started working here at Urbana Free Library. I've had many different roles: hourly circulation clerk, a teen librarian, and finally working as a patron services and programming librarian. January 3rd will be my last day working here at Urbana Free Library, retiring. I vividly remember visiting the library decades ago after moving here from Chicago. I was a stressed out mom with a demanding 2-year-old and not many friends. To my horror, my son threw a major temper tantrum as we were leaving. I remember how the children's librarian calmly helped us gather our things and smiled, saying goodbye, calling my son by his name. "Goodbye, Si, come back soon." Her kindness meant more than she could ever know, and we became regulars at the library. Library staff were some of the first adults my son would speak to beyond our family. A year and a half later, I would apply for my first job at the library. I learned to be committed to the Urbana Free Library by being surrounded by staff who were committed to the work. I wanted to help others feel welcomed, wanted everyone in this community to know that this library belongs to them. I was lucky that there were good people before me who helped ensure that I was able to get a good job with many benefits and good compensation. Over the years, it's been tough to see the increasing pressures public libraries face, fast-moving technological developments, and a full range of financial pressures, including the push to deprofessionalize staff and to cut benefits and minimize compensation. I've seen our library lose some excellent workers, and I've been disheartened to see many staff needing to rely on food stamps or multiple jobs to keep up. Over time, it became clear to many of us that staff needed to organize for a stronger voice through union representation. When a workplace is safe, when the administration is honest and responsive, when compensation and benefits are fair, we know we'll have skilled and hardworking staff who will be committed to the library. Investing in staff really is an investment in our library's future. It's been so heartening to see real and significant progress being made in our negotiations. I love it when it's clear to all of us that it's in our mutual interest to have committed staff at every level who can find a future in their work at the library. I'm sincerely grateful to the board for encouraging that spirit of respect and openness. I truly mean that. It means a great deal, and I know I speak for all of us when I say thank you for that. Sometimes I think back to the impact that that single incident with the children's librarian so long ago had on me. And I feel so proud to know that interactions like it are happening every day in our library. The patient staff person notarizing for someone with limited English. The teen who's learning to sew with help from someone in Teen Open Lab. The person buying for our collection who's sure to include the local author. The security staff who helps connect a person in crisis to services. And yes, the children's librarian who's nice to the mom whose kid is throwing an ugly tantrum. I could give so many examples from staff in every department. I'll end by saying thanks to every quirky, interesting, friendly patron. Thanks to every encouraging and creative and helpful coworker. And thanks to Urbana Free Library. Thanks for giving me a chance, for encouraging me to grow professionally, for giving me a livable wage and benefits, and for helping me do some of the most meaningful work of my life. I wish it for those coming up behind me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Carol. And I can't thank you enough on behalf of all of us, I'm sure, for 30-plus years of dedication to this institution. I'm sure it resounds with a lot of other people, your story of how you found it here as well. That was my family's exact intro to the library as well. So for years and years, just regular faces in the children's area, and that's what brought us here. Thanks. All right, are there any other comments? Hearing none, we're going to go ahead and move into presentations. So we've got 3 separate sets for library standards. First up is Leon with technology.
Hello, everybody. I want to start by saying I cannot top that. Okay.
You haven't been here long enough.
This year, I decided to do something a little different. I am confident that we all know that IT meets the standards at all times. And before I start, my name is Leon Wilson. I'm the IT manager at the library. This time, instead of coming here and saying, we do this, we do that, we do that, that's the easy part. This year, I sat down and thought to myself, how can I do more than the standards? The standards is core, intermediate, and advanced. That's the easy part. That's my job. That's the bare minimum. So I had a report card that I gave myself to give an insight of what I think about when I think about the standards. I really wanted to give myself a 4.0 GPA, but I just couldn't do that. Being honest with myself, I want more for my colleagues, I want more for this library, I want more for the city. And excuse me, my notes are on paper in my phone somewhere. But up first, when we look at the standards, is again, the core goals, the intermediate, and the advanced. So the single word you see here is what I describe as each one, if you sum it all up in one word. All right, so start off is planning. It's an A minus. Why a minus? We have a tech plan, we have a research cycle, and we have a dedicated budget. Now granted, the budget is tight, I have to do more with less, and we all have to do the same thing. But it's a minus because I need to figure out a way to do, again, more with less. One of the things that I want to do, I'm sorry, one second, get my notes right here. I need to reevaluate our refresh cycle. Right now it's 7 years for network equipment, servers, and stuff like that. 5 years for laptops and computers. And we are starting to feel that pressure point of I can't really sustain the personal computer, desktop and laptops as I used to be able to. So I'm thinking about how can I leverage other resources to get, again, more done with less? Can I extend the life cycle of the devices? What does that mean for warranty claims and stuff like that? Number two, policy. That's easy. We have an internet policy on the line, on the website. Staff is always reminding our patrons, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. Us as individuals always know the staff handbook and blah, blah, as far as that is pertaining to technology. Next, public access. And on that note, A- for that. So, we have plenty of computers. One of the big things about the core, about the illinois standards, is make sure we have enough resources for our patrons. We do that easily. We have 45 plus computers for public use. We have another 6 for OPAC, so people can start their catalog, and et cetera. It's a must because one of the demands I keep hearing is more mobility in the library, i.e. an in-house laptop. Right now, I believe we have 1, 2 in-house laptops. I really want to expand that so people can work throughout the library and have more privacy. Maybe you want to go in the corner, maybe you want to go in the stacks and have your book and your laptop or tablet right there and get more information instead of being tied down in one location. Personnel, A+. My staff is amazing. If it wasn't for them, I'd be drowning. I just want to give a shout out to Thomas and Logan. I can't thank them enough. Security, A-. We have EDRs like CrowdStrike, emergency something response. That's what we use to stop threats in the track. So somebody get on a computer device and do something nefarious or malicious, knowingly or most of the time, 99% of the time is unknowingly. We have software that stop that right then and there. You see me a flag and say, oh, this file on the computer, do something about it. That's easy. We have software like PDQ. That's what we use to patch our computers. So every time I need to do an update, automation. I don't have time to do it myself. I click a button. That's a lie. It's on a timer, it's on a schedule. And do that for me. It's an A- because one of the things that I haven't had time to do this year is my own audit. Once a year, I do an audit of all the research that we're doing, security and stuff like that, and it takes a long time. I leverage NIST as one of the core standards for security, and it's a very, you shaking your head, it's a very, very long and intensive process. And doing it once a year is not sustainable for me. So I'm thinking about how can I do this once a month, hit this goal or that goal once a month, so I get that A- to an A. Accessibility, this is my biggest flaw. Right now, we meet the standards by having keyboards with high contrast, mouses with little thingies like that. It's a B because I don't prioritize that. I am shameful to say that. I want to use and leverage software like JAWS or NVDA, screen readers, and magnifiers so people can see and hear and be more connected with our technology. So one of the biggest things I want to do with accessibility is make sure that it's on the forefront of my mind. It's not acceptable as somebody who's able-bodied who don't think about that. I have to think about that. I need to. Connectivity, A-. Again, we hit all the standards. We provide internet, Wi-Fi. We have a 10 gig connection from Volo. We are looking into upgrading our ICN connection. Right now it's 500 megabytes up to 5 gigs. That's because we share that connection with the county and the city. And collectively, we are using more cloud resources. So we're trying to get that up. It's an A- because the need to upgrade our infrastructure to handle that speed is becoming more critical. Not in the sense of our everyday bandwidth is the need, but I want to make sure we utilize all of the room we have. So one of the things I want to prioritize as the older network equipment age out, invest a little bit more money to get the equipment that can actually handle those kind of bandwidths and help load balance the resources throughout the library, whether it's our staff computers or Wi-Fi access or public computers. Tools. I'm sorry, I don't remember that one. We meet all that. So for number 8, tools, there's things like photocopiers, we got that. Faxing, we got that. Video conferencing, we got that. Easy, done. Lastly, makerspace. When I think about this, I think about Team Open Lab, where we have our 3D printers, so people can come in and do that. We have laptops, and I recently gave them monitors and keyboards that a lot of times the teens leave this space to go in the lab for bigger screen to play with. Everything in here. I got old equipment I don't use no more, that's been out the door, take it. So, the next thing is, what do I do about my grades and how do I do better? And these are some of the things that I want to take action on and some of the things I'm thinking about. Again, money's tight. I can't do all of this. I wish I could. But some of the things I'm thinking about is, again, reviewing our technology replacement cycle, maybe make it longer. I don't want to do that, but maybe I gotta face that fact. Along with that is VDI, virtual desktop environment, infrastructure. Pulling reports and looking at our people counter, looking at the lab. The whole year 2025, we only have about 20% utilization on all lab computers for that. I'm buying 40 plus computers and 4/5 of that is not being fully utilized. Maybe I can get a VDI, get one beefy server and some cheaper end clients to better leverage what we have here. Again, things I'm thinking about. How can I do more with what I have? Increase accessibility, like I said before. This software that I have to commit to buying, commit to learning, commit to training staff how to use it with our patrons. It has to be a priority because, again, I don't need it now, but I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We need to focus on that. Automations. There's 3 people on my team, including myself, and we don't have the man hours to do everything all the time. And we use, again, CrowdStrike to find all security threats. We use PDQ to patch, but there's still a lot of manual things that we still do that I gotta figure out how to move man hours to other tasks that can't be automated. So that's another key thing I want to look into. Bandwidth relates to the internet, again, upgrading our network infrastructure. And lastly is the audit. Again, I haven't had time because it's a very, very big list, so I need to figure out a way to break it up every month and get it done because it is paramount to the safety to our patrons, our community, and our staff. And if I got any questions or ideas, advice?
Well, first, I wouldn't touch the technology replacement cycle because you're kind of pushing the max
5
for
years
both
is a long time.
the 5 years and 7 years. I mean, you.
That's why I'm thinking about the VDI system, yes.
Yeah, so that, but, you might consider not putting the stress of doing the audit on a monthly basis. I mean, if you're just barely getting once a year now, and even though it's huge, you might think just quarterly.
Thank you.
And then, just get your goals and you just keep cycling your quarters. I
Thank you
mean,
for that.
and neither of those are saving you money, but, they're saving a little time.
I appreciate
Actually.
that.
Anyone else?
I just wanted to say I appreciate your honesty and your self-reflection. That's really great. And
Thank you.
from my point of view, you're doing a great job. So, hey, 4.0 if I'm.
Thank you very much.
I guess I was just gonna ask, like, what, if there's something that you feel like, that, like, we might, there's a part of your job that we might not know about, that is, like, one of the most important parts of what you do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. For me, it's 2 parts. One of the things I really pride myself is our cybersecurity. A year and a half ago, I had the state of Illinois come out. I like to leverage a lot of free resources, and the state they navigate everything. and he was very impressed about what we've done so far. And I really want to make sure we're on top of that. Again, the audit kind of fell back for me. Maybe the quarter thing is more flexible for me. The other thing that's really hard that people may not see is the balancing act I have to do. Especially this year with the renovation, I have had to cut a lot of things from my to-do list because we can't afford to pay for that right now. So it's people. I perceive that people. Oh, I need this, I need that, and blah blah. When you do that, I'm thinking about, okay, well, my pot is limited. What's a priority and what I thought was a priority and what's not a priority. So those are two things, cybersecurity and that juggling act of I have to shift what I want to do and balance that with security and with what staff need. So it's a great question. I hope I answered the question.
No, that's good.
Having been new on the board, I appreciated the time you spent with me to get me on board about the security things, and which I'm still kind of freaked out about when I see all this spam stuff. You know, I'm like, am I supposed to be?
I know.
Or not? I'm not going to
ready to
respond.
apologize to you publicly for not, my computer needs some, seriously, my computer, one of my things, my dongles don't work for me to get on the thing.
I got side business.
Maybe you can help me out. I'm sorry, previously have not been able or here to be able to actually come into the library and just do my know before stuff.
Deb, thank you for the comment. I appreciate that.
But you're right,
Appreciate you.
he's excellent with that stuff.
Any other comments, questions, concerns?
Definitely on a roll. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Leon.
All right, 6.2, we've got Mike going to talk to us about building and grounds.
Hi, I'm going to stand over here in case you throw stuff at me.
Uh-oh.
So I'm Mike Hannon, I'm the facility manager for another 2 weeks. I work here part-time. I started a couple years ago with the intent of doing the master plan. And unfortunately, the library needed more maintenance work than a master plan. That's what we've been doing. So I follow Leon every year, and he gives a tuxedo presentation, and I come up here like a pair of scuffed out brown shoes. So there it goes. For facilities, we pretty much follow everything that Illinois Libraries Association wants us to do. Certain things like keeping track of inventory and whatnot, we can't do it. We don't have the manpower. This year we created a facility supervisor position. James Porter is the supervisor. He got the memo about blue and khaki, just like, he must be like Mike. But it's been critical to have him on board, especially with the renovation. Him and I spent a lot of time moving things out of here, taking down shelving, storing it in pods. Now we're basically putting it back together. Plus, he takes care of some of the janitorial with Donna as well, and he does a bang-up job. I believe he is going to be the interim facility manager once I leave, and I'm sure he'll do a great job. So what we've done this year is we've had the east air handler put in. We worked with the renovation team doing the design, and then working with the contractor to kind of iron out any problems we've had. Like I said, we're putting things back together now. So we're getting to the fun part. Unfortunately, the library has had a lack of maintenance. And we're to the point where the roof is it's at 20 years. and it's gonna be needing to be replaced in a couple of years. Hopefully a couple, not sooner than that. We're looking at over $500,000 to replace it. The roof is 3 sections of the roof. 2 of them have double layers on them, so you have to take those totally out. Once you do that, you probably have to have a engineering firm figure out the tapering of the insulation to drain it properly. So there's a cost there as well. So we're looking over $500,000. And there's no getting around it, because we don't want another civic center.
No, we don't.
Yeah. The other thing, other big ticket item that's coming down the pike, but hopefully we can put this one off, is the West Air Handler, which is at 20 years. 20 years is the standard for air handlers and chillers. We have Davis Houck does our preventive maintenance, and they do a bang-up job. The East Air Handler was 50 years old. They kept that going, and it got to the point where there were no parts that we could get, so we had to replace it. I'm just want you all to be aware that these are big ticket items, so we need to create a capital improvement fund or something to, in the event we need to do that. And that's about it. So far, no tomatoes or anything came my way, which is good. Is there any questions? Sure.
You know, on city council, we have PERF for our vehicles and stuff like that. Would that be something that you might recommend or something like that? If you talk to your fabulous wife, who is like a masterful person with the finances.
Yeah. I've talked to her about that all the time.
As far as high price items like the roof, HVAC,
Carpet
certain
and
plumbing
paint.
things that,
Carpet and paint. Yeah.
yeah, okay, and that maybe what the library budget will have to do is put away a percentage every year.
And we've been doing that.
And we have been doing it.
But I mean.
But the prices, inflation and
Exactly.
everything.
So every year, all the work that's done here, just like the city, is done on prevailing wage. It goes up every year. There's no getting around that.
Mhm.
Anytime minimum wage goes up, so does prevailing wage. So it could be a couple times during the year that that happens. So the prices, a couple of years ago, I figured out prices for carpet and paint for each floor. And I would probably add 10% easily to those now. And each one of those was over 100,000. So, and that's not a necessity. That's a want, a must, not a must-have. We'd like to have new carpet, new paint. We're hoping that with the remodel, that gets people interested in donating.
For those purposes.
Get your hats ready and start passing it out.
Hey, 588-2300, Empire. Just an idea. Maybe we can get, 1 room free for 2 rooms that we get,
Yeah. I don't think that works that way.
I'm just throwing it out there and just an idea, so, because you said we already kind of have monies that we put back.
It's my understanding there is. I'm not sure how that all works.
Mhm.
My wife could tell me in 2 minutes, and then she'd say, why are you ignoring
Why do I see birds going around?
me? Right, yeah. That's her forte, not mine.
I know. So and that's why I was asking if we had anything like that in place anyway.
I think
Because
it
I know it can cost,
Yeah.
things go up, cost of even the necessities, like I said, HVAC.
Sure.
Our roof, you can't have a library without a roof, and you can't have one without HVAC either.
Right.
And then we also have the other storage units. Of course, I don't know what that is like, where we have our archives and all that kind of stuff, so we have to be very mindful even of how those installations and how that kind of stuff
Right.
goes.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So, just theoretically, if we're eventually going to replace the roof, it's been a while since I've been up on there, and I can't think of how tall that lip is, but would we consider putting solar panels up there if we didn't follow the aesthetics?
So if you put solar panels up there, you would have to replace the roof.
Well, we are thinking like if
No
we,
getting
if we,
around that.
yeah, I'm thinking if we were actually replacing the roof.
But, right, but in 20 years or so, you'd be replacing the roof again, and the solar panels have to come down.
That's true.
And I'm not sure how many solar panels you could get up there
That's
to
right,
make
I
it
can't
work.
picture
I
it.
think Scott Test looked at that
Okay.
at one point.
I'm just thinking, we many times we're approving these Ameren bills over 10,000 and thinking, yeah,
So he told us a couple of years ago that we were going to be part of
Yes.
a solar array.
yes.
Yeah, and he said it was going to be a couple of falls ago.
Yeah.
We just found out that they haven't even started building
Yeah,
it yet.
that's,
so,
yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I'm thinking of if we do our own.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I send you. I get the utility bills, and with my budget, because they go up, I have to cover it, so that takes away from
That's
other
right.
things. as
And the
well.
tax credits are right now no longer available,
Yeah.
but it might change again.
Yeah.
Just thinking, depending on how far in the future, just looking at options. Okay.
Or could you, like, put them over the parking lot or something?
He
You know?
suggested that as well.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how that would work.
You need
I
space.
mean, that's not my area of expertise, so he would be the one to talk to. But he did come up with that suggestion.
First off, thank you for all the work with the east air handler recently, getting all that finished through Davis and Houck. I just was curious if you had, what is a realistic estimate for what we can expect for longevity on that west one? I know you said it's at 20 now, but it is a newer unit than the prior one was, so presumably there is still parts available for that one?
I'm sorry, the new one?
Just wait for them to.
I'll give it a second.
Thank you.
So that one was newer than the east. So I'm assuming
Yeah,
that
we're
one
good
still
there.
has, you can still find parts
Oh, yeah.
available for that way. So what could we reasonably expect? Obviously, we're not going to expect to get 50 years out of that one. That was some type of
Right.
miracle.
I'm guessing, I would take it, I would be comfortable saying easily 5, probably 10. But interestingly enough, I had lunch with a former Davis House service manager, and we had talked about that exact thing. What the problem is, the new air handler that was put in, that only has a life expectancy of 15 years instead of 20, because they don't build them like they used to. I mean, the more technology you put into it, that's a possible problem down the road.
Right.
So, it's just the way it is.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Just thanks again for a clear.
Great.
Thank you.
Very nice.
And then, last presentation, 6.3, Gretchen is going to update us on safety and emergency preparedness.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gretchen Buckley. I'm getting everything set up. So instead of reading you a list of the core standards, as everybody has kind of mentioned, they've changed a little bit. They're a little bit easier to follow. Now there's a core, intermediate, and advanced. So instead of reading you those kind of lists, I'm going to give you some examples of how we meet those standards. There we go. There we go. Thank you. Okay. So I have chapter 5, safety and emergency preparedness. So some ways that we meet the core standards, we have a communication protocol. So if we have an emergency closure, which we've had recently with water main issues and snow. And maybe if winter continues to look like it does now, we'll have even more of that. So we have an emergency text messaging system that can communicate with our staff. We also have a manager delegated plan, so whenever there is a closure, the managers each have separate tasks that they are responsible for to make sure that all of the protocol, so that we touch all of our bases. So like making signs, Leon makes sure that text message gets out, Rose or I contact our IHLS to let them know about deliveries and things like that. We have safety training and emergency preparedness. We're actually updating that this year. I will be getting to that a little bit more. And the safety training is also included in onboarding any new staff that start with the library. Any new staff that start with the library do get a safety training. We have a board-approved patron code of conduct. We have a stock of emergency supplies at each service desk, including a flashlight. We have a large lantern now, first aid, Narcan at each desk, and then we have an AED on the first floor. And then we also have a large library disaster plan that is also kept off-site in case a disaster befalls our actual library and we can't get, whether servers aren't accessible or the building is not accessible. So we had some successes in 2025. We hired a second library assistant too for safety, Matt Morin, welcome aboard, in June of this year, so he's been with us just 6 months. So we now have 2 library assistant twos for safety. We purchased the patron incident tracking system to replace our old patron incident database. And this is, it goes by the name PITS. And so we have been working to figure out how to implement that, set it up. And the first training is going to begin on next Monday for all of the managers. So Craig and Matt and I will be doing a training for the managers, and the staff will follow shortly after that. So we've developed our training and implementation plan. We had new security cameras installed, and I think that's a win for Leon too, that goes under technology. And then I attended the 2025 Whole Community Training Summit, and that was put on by the City of Chicago, but it was to bring together many different community organizations to focus on practicing keeping communities safe, disaster planning. If there was a large disaster, how do organizations, maybe like the library that you wouldn't think of, how do they play a role with the community and disaster relief? And then we have some future goals. So coming to your way soon, we have been working on trying to update our patron code of conduct. We want to make it more accessible. Right now our patron code of conduct is very long and has really specific things. And we want to make sure the language meets almost all of the patrons that enter the library, and we want it to be easy for staff to understand and implement also. We're going to be auditing our emergency signage in the library. We have, as you know, we did our partial renovation, so we're getting ready to open that up to the public, and we are just kind of taking a look to make sure that we have signage exactly where we need it to be, and we'll be working to implement additional safety training this coming year. Any questions? Pretty short, sweet.
So what's your refresh cycle that you would like to plan for the safety training?
For the safety training, I'd actually like to do a safety training, a specific every year. So there would be kind of different levels, depending on how long staff would be here. Training is one of my passion areas. So starting at like a beginner to advanced, just like if you worked here for 10 years, your competency would be different than someone who's worked here for just a year. So there would be a basic training for onboarding, and then as you've been here, there would be different trainings that you would attend. But we also talked about, the safety staff and I have talked about doing first aid training, CPR training, more AED and things like that as well. Teresa.
So you anticipate having these trainings during the staff days that you have, or will these be ongoing? Will these be happening even with the library being open and, pulling people off the floor, maybe to go and do this for 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, while somebody else fills in, or how are you going to schedule that?
I think it depends. So for the PITS implementation training, we're going to start with the manager group so we can get some feedback about our training. And then our goal is to do every staff member, so that's almost 70 people. And our goal would probably be to do some before the library opens, because that's probably about a 2-hour training, that's short. But my goal is to bring someone in for like de-escalation training. And there's just some things like I've had Crisis Prevention Institute training and things like that, but I'm not a certified trainer, and I would like to have people brought in to do some of that training as well. So it kind of depends. It could be used on staff day, we haven't talked about that yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there currently a subset of people that are already trained in using the pits, or is that all need to take place in the future?
So Matt and Craig have been working on building pits, so you have to go in and edit kind of the pits. The great thing about it, it's really customizable, and so you can pretty much go in and can make the database how you want it to show up. So they have been back entering some incident reports. If there are patrons that are banned, they have that in there, but no one else has been using it. Yeah,
Okay.
they will get their login during their first training, and then we will start using it as soon as the patron services staff get through.
This is about patron code of conduct, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it when the time comes, but just in broad brushstrokes, are you revising it because it's not adequate or because it's too much? I mean, you did mention that it's kind of too long and too hard to digest. Have you thought about doing just a brief version, having 2 different versions?
I think it's kind of out of date. It's been a while since it's been updated, and some of the language is a little bit out of date. And so anytime we would review that policy, a lawyer or the library attorney would kind of look at that. It's not really digestible. And if I've worked at other libraries and done a lot of security work, it's a lot of rules to remember, like what rule was that, or is that a rule? And so to make it just more concise for everybody, so we can stick to like 10 or 11 instead of, I think we're almost at 20 and it's 2 pages. So, and it gets really specific. Like, for example, the first one is like, don't break any state, federal, or local ordinances, and then it has like, specifies gambling. Well, you can't gamble necessarily, you know, that breaks other ordinances. So we don't have to kind of repeat ourselves. We can kind of, the staff and managers can understand what kind of falls under those rules.
So you mean no one can get one of the rooms upstairs and start
Bring your
doing some
poker.
dice?
No.
Come on, son. They can't do that, huh? Okay.
As right now, yes, it stays in the rules.
See now that matters. That matters. You cannot play dice in one of the study rooms.
I think you can play, you just can't.
You can't play it for money.
You can't play it for money, exactly.
Well, then why bother? Okay.
Anyone else?
Any other questions?
Thank you very much,
Okay,
Gretchen.
thank you.
All right, moving on to our consent agenda, I'll read through first before asking for a motion. So we have board meeting minutes of November 11th, 2025, payroll for November 14th, 2025, totaling $142,001.72. Payroll for November 28th, 2025, totaling $140,896.55. Bills for November 7th, 2025, totaling $42,274.90.
Except for the board meeting currently in progress.
I'll
Your benefit
hold
rider
for
will close in
announcement.
15 minutes. Thank you.
Continuing on, bills for November 14th, 2025 totaling $221,776.34. Bills for November 21st, 2025 totaling $21,676.24. And bills for December 5th, 2025 totaling $42,835.69. Does anyone wish to separate anything out from there? Is there a motion to pass the consent agenda as is?
So moved.
Beth, and a second. And Sharice. Any questions, comments, or discussion on consent agenda? Hearing none, all in favor of passing consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, consent agenda is passed. Moving on to individual action items. The first is approving library closure for December 22nd and December 23rd of this year for, hopefully, are still on track, renovation being complete and moving everything back into the new space upstairs. Is there a motion for that one?
Moved.
Erica, in a second?
Second.
And Sharice. Any questions or comments on that one? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That one is passed. 8.2 and 8.3, these are going together. This is the updated hours, updating the library hours and the service policy. Is there a motion for that one?
You doing them separately or together?
Sorry, we, in the very beginning, we modified that to have that
Okay, I
as
missed it. All right,
one
say-
thing,
oh,
yes.
yeah, okay, okay.
Because otherwise, it's the same thing twice.
Okay, well, I'll move to approve.
Beth, and the second.
Second.
You're going to get there. Are there questions, comments, discussion for the library hours? No?
You got a question?
I guess, anything that people would like to share about what went into the decision to do it, or any kind of background you want us to know about it?
Sure. So this is, when I think about this, this is about service and sustainability, making sure that we have the ability to provide high-quality service. Thinking about the pattern, looking at the door counts over the last year and pretty much since 2020, and traffic patterns, usage patterns. So looking at the door count, wanting to think about the consistency of hours for patrons as they're thinking about when the library is open, when they can use the library, and then also thinking about opportunities for, there's limited opportunities, almost no opportunities for all staff to get together at the same time, hearing the same message, doing collaborative and cooperative work together. And so this will allow some opportunities for us to have staff meetings, have staff trainings before hours. When I also think about how the library is responsive to the community, this is the opportunity for us to possibly, depending on what we're thinking about, possibly build some relationships that allow us to meet with people, potential partners prior to the library opening. And then thinking about sustainability. Right now, we're having significant struggles with our staffing model. And so it has been a real challenge to staff some of the service desks, and also thinking about our budget and sustainability. So when I think about this, it's easier to start somewhere and expand when we're able to do that financially and staffing wise, rather than continue in this state in the current state of doing what we can, but the service is not, we have some room for improvement. Any other questions?
I just have a follow-up on that, and I want to preface it by saying that just the way you described, it's a balancing act, right, of what you can do and what you can do well and what you can do without wearing out staff and et cetera. So I really applaud that way of thinking. So that's a preface to the harder question, which is, this is like more than a 10% reduction in hours. Is the public going to notice and complain about it? Is the city going to notice and complain about it? Is it really, do we just do it and it's okay and let the chips fall where they may? How does that sort of public perception of reducing hours, because it feels like it could feel like a reduction,
Sure.
right? And I know that it's not actually based on what you said, but.
So I am prepared for those conversations and the questions as they come, and to be able to justify why we're doing this again, to allow ourselves time to assess and regroup and set ourselves up for success to provide the best possible service.
Yeah. And you have data to back it up, I guess, patron counts and things
Yes.
like that.
Is it out of line for me to ask about when you mentioned struggles in, can you provide in detail what you're talking about when you say?
Sure. So the way we schedule here is interesting. That's the best word for it. And there's some opportunities to look at that as we move forward, just to ensure that staffing and scheduling is responsive to the current and future needs of the library. I think there's some things that have been going on for years, for decades, that may have worked in the past, and they don't currently work if we're a high quality, high functioning library that's providing 21st century service.
Can you tell me a little bit more what you're talking about?
So
I'm sorry.
I think one of the things that stands out for me, we've had a significant number of call-outs to the point where we have to decide, do we close the library? Do we have enough staff to be present to provide service in the library? We have managers who are working 6 to 7 days a week because of the staffing. We just recently, because we were thinking that it was a lot, but then we actually had data to back it up that as of now is probably like over 170 hours of people calling out for a variety of reasons just within a month span. And like that's unsustainable to try to provide high quality service, to provide consistent hours, making sure that staff get their hours that they're expecting. And so for me, it's a time to take a step back, to look at what we're doing, why are we doing it this way, and hold ourselves accountable for it and to a higher standard of service.
Thank you. I'm sorry. To kind of piggyback on what Deb was saying is, are we in a position right now where we are understaffed?
We are.
Okay, so we actually need more shelvers or more people that put the information in, or computers, or?
I don't know if I should rephrase that. I don't know if we're understaffed. I don't think our staffing model is working for what our needs are current and future.
Okay.
I don't think we're understaffed. We just need to reimagine
The
what
schedule,
staffing looks like.
how people are scheduled and what kind of, what do you call it, scaffolding, so to speak, of from one department to another. Is that what you're thinking in terms of?
Yeah, and thinking about the library more holistically, like we do a good job of thinking about individual departments. We need to think about it holistically, like we are all working for one library and not just working for a specific department, and prioritizing staffing our needs in a specific department.
Okay.
May I please have your attention? Except for the board meeting currently in progress, the Urbana Free Library will close in 5 minutes. Please check out all materials now. Thank you.
And go home. Okay.
Did I answer, Deb, did I answer your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I was just wondering if you felt like, are we in need of hiring more people to help pick up certain hours that, like in between? Because I imagine if somebody has to go to the doctor, or if somebody is sick, or has to take care of a child or a parent or something like that, I know that flexibility is not there so much for certain positions as it would be for maybe another position, someone who could work from home or something like that. So that's why I was asking.
Yeah, I think it's more important to assess what we currently have rather than just like
Right.
adding.
Oh, I'm not talking about just add people. I appreciate you thinking we need to assess how we can do this differently and to make it work better, and make it work more efficiently. Okay.
And I appreciate your comment of recognizing that we're starting here and being able to assess it, because the way that I always think of this and so many other policies is none of this is immutable. They're all capable of changing in the future as our priorities or as our needs adjust to that. All right, any other questions or comments on there? All in favor of approving the updated hours of service policy, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that is passed. And 8.4 is an extension of our current tech plan going forward to, it was January of 25 to January of 26. This would extend it to June of 26, so it lines up with the fiscal year. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Glenn, in a second? Deb? Got it. Any questions or comments for the tech plan extension? Hearing none, all in favor of extending the tech plan, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, that is passed. We do not have any discussion items scheduled. Move on to the report for liaison officers. I'm going to go ahead and guess that we still have nothing from the Friends, given our current construction. All right. 2 points for the foundation, just an update. I'm sure this is old as usual because we always meet the week after this meeting. So by the time I tell you, it's been 3 weeks. But the last I heard, we were at 43,000 for the year. So I'm sure we have more than that now. The other half of that regarding the fundraising is we are now at the point where we're in the middle of that match campaign that started on December 2nd. So up to $15,000 will be matched from a generous donation from one of our donors. And that goes through, I believe, the next 2 months. So it's awesome if everyone can donate to the library, and especially if you can do it during this time, because it will double your efforts. 10.3, Harton, anything from IHLS?
Yes. So I'm going to kind of read off. It's a little lengthy, but IHLS is restructuring. So recently, they're reorganizing their staff structure following the retirement of its previous associate director. During this lead of transition, Cassandra Thompson was promoted to associate director of IHLS and also will remain the shared director. The marketing, communication, and membership team were merged into a single membership and outreach department. The reorganization reorganizes continuing education efforts, now refocusing the continuing education coordinator role towards delivering high-quality learning content. Overall, IHLS expects these changes to streamline operations, better align staff to its strategic goals of improving communication, engagement, education, and flexibility.
Paging. May I please have your attention? Except for the board meeting currently in progress, the Urbana Free Library is now closed. The library will open tomorrow at 10 a.m. Have a nice evening.
This change is estimated to save around $48,000 for IHLS and $19,000 for share in their personnel line items. And this is really important, and I kind of share that last part, because with this change, the share membership, which is obviously our school districts, our public libraries, their membership will not increase because of this change in their organization structure. So just a huge change for them, but they plan on providing, improving their services.
Great, thank you. Are there admin reports?
A few things. You've heard that we have several staff vacancies, retirements coming up, changes. So I just want to take this time because at our January meeting, Carol will no longer be here, and so I want to thank Ms. Carol. Thank you so much for everything that you have brought to the library and the support that you have offered me since I've been here and our community throughout your time here. Thank you so much. I wish you well.
Hey, Jake. Except for the board meeting currently in progress, the library is clear.
I want to thank Mike. I've never walked on a roof before, and I was able to do that.
Thought she was going to jump off.
I was just waving. Mike, thank you so much for everything that you brought to the library, and just the education and the future thinking, helping us to think about the future.
That's right.
All the best. And then I'm really excited about James taking on the interim role. He brings a lot of experience and knowledge about the building, about the library, about facilities and maintenance. So very excited to be able to work with you, James, moving forward. And I feel like I am forgetting somebody from and is transitioning from the archives department to supporting the library in a different role, and that will occur at the end of this year. So thank you so much for your commitment to the library and your flexibility to support us and support the library in a different way. And I will ask Don if you would give an update on renovation.
Oh, sure. We're so close. So thank you very much for approving those days off. It's going to be really key to resetting the entire area. We did have the interior designer on site last Thursday to make sure that all of the furniture was okay and installations. And just like with the other, when the architect was on site, there's a couple of little minor things, but she did approve of us moving into the new spaces. So the offices in the new workroom, the people are back in the offices. We've moved the LA ones to their new workspaces, so they're back. They have 2 full weeks basically to get used to the new workspace and where things go and what the new workflow is. So hopefully by the time we open to the public on the 26th, it may not be perfect yet, but it'll be a heck of a lot closer than if we didn't have this time. So I'm really thrilled about that. We anticipate that Megan's room will open up next week. They're finishing up the final punch list items for that. We still don't have the wall mural, so we're gonna open it. The wall's painted, and then when we do receive the mural, we'll close it again for a day, they'll install the mural, and we'll open up again. But just to have that space back, I'm sure the children's librarians will be thrilled that it'll be open once again. So, yeah, we're right there, home stretch. Very excited.
And then I want to share and encourage you to save the date for Saturday, January 24th. We will have a library open house, and you can expect an invite for that soon. 12 o'clock? Yes, are we starting at 12? Mm-hmm. Yes, so Saturday, January 24th, 12 noon.
Great. Thank you. I do not believe we have any board or committee reports. For my own report, speaking of staffing updates for the board. So just last night, the city approved a new board member for us. Justin Kingston will be starting on our next meeting in January. Does not necessarily bring us up to full staff, because on the other half of that coin, Darius will be leaving us. This is his last meeting with us. We're very thankful for your time here. Little last minute, we didn't get in time, but we'll have a resolution next month. If you want to come back and sit on that side of it. No, but thank you. I know your role at the city, your new role at the city can prevent or can perhaps cause some conflicts at times. So I appreciate you sticking with it for this while we work to get some people filling in so that we weren't too short on there.
Can I just add, it's truly been a pleasure to serve with the board. I thank you all for all that you do for the library as well as the community as a whole. For anyone that wasn't aware, I've been more quiet over the last couple of months. It's not that I don't care, but I've been trying to recuse myself of voting on things because of my position with the city. I had a very difficult conversation with the city attorney who recommended, due to my position as a city administrator, although I mentioned I will recuse myself when it's necessary, but it's honestly, it's just difficult to be feasible, in a feasible way, to do both, to be in both capacities. Again, I stuck around with the hope to make sure that we always had quorum. So ideally, I've been quiet, being a present vote, but not being able to say yes or no to anything. But again, it's been a true pleasure. I apologize for the last minute notification. But again, I wish you all much success, and I'll still be here. So you'll see me just in a different capacity. So yes.
Thank you very much, Darius. All right, is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business? Hearing none, I will read this through and then ask for a roll call vote. We will move into a closed session. Just to note, we typically do closed sessions in a different room. However, we actually need the presentation space for this one, so I regret to inform you, you don't have to go home, but you can stay here afterwards. There will be an announcement at the end of it if anyone would like to come back for the end. So just FYI.